While most people imagine Prince Edward dining on gilded plates and elaborate royal banquets, the reality behind the doors of Bagshot Park is startlingly different. There are no champagne breakfasts or theatrical presentations designed for show. Instead, we find a royal who figured out decades ago that authenticity tastes far better than performance. Every single morning begins in an identical, remarkably grounded way, with a steaming bowl of proper Scottish porridge. This is not the instant oats from a packet or a trendy bowl designed for social media. These are real, traditional rolled oats, cooked slowly on the stove until thick and genuinely sustaining, finished with a careful drizzle of quality honey. Former household staff note that the Duke's breakfast preferences have not changed in decades. One staff member recalled that Edward always believed sustainable energy beats a quick fix every single time. He learned during his years in television production that when you are managing complex schedules and staying mentally sharp under pressure, breakfast matters enormously. If you appreciate this level of dedication to tradition, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more royal insights. When the morning calls for something different, Edward's alternative choice tells the same story of quiet principles: free-range scrambled eggs on thick whole grain toast. The free-range specification is not a health fad, it is a strict ethical standard. Edward has a documented concern for animal welfare that extends into his private life. He simply refuses to eat eggs from systems he finds troubling, regardless of convenience. This is not a performance for the public. It is a private conviction maintained with total consistency. The eggs are prepared with the same attention to quality that defines his entire approach, slowly, carefully, and with no shortcuts. This remarkably lean physique he has maintained throughout his adult life is the result of these consistent choices. He prefers real food that works practically, allowing him to transition from his private home to demanding public duties with ease. If you have a morning ritual that has stood the test of time, tell us about it in the comments below. But while this breakfast helps him maintain his steady energy, his lunch habits might surprise you even more. It completely contradicts the royal stereotype of delicate, crustless cucumber triangles. To survive a grueling day of engagements, the Duke requires something with much more substance. What exactly does a working royal eat for lunch to stay energized until sunset? That reveal is coming up next. As the day progresses, and the Duke's schedule fills with royal engagements, lunch becomes a matter of practical necessity rather than culinary theater. Forget the delicate, crustless cucumber sandwiches often associated with palace life. For Prince Edward, lunch is about substance and honest fuel. He consistently chooses proper sandwiches made with thick-cut whole grain or artisanal bread. These are not dainty snacks. They are hearty meals designed to sustain him through a grueling afternoon of meetings and public appearances. Fillings often include roast chicken with quality mayonnaise and fresh watercress, or mature cheddar paired with thick slices of tomato and proper English mustard. This preference reflects his working mentality. He views lunch as essential energy, not an opportunity for a formal sit-down affair. Accompanying these meals is a habit rooted in genuine environmental conviction, a strict adherence to seasonal eating. Edward's philosophy is simple yet profound. He enjoys strawberries in June when they are locally perfect, but he will never touch them in December when they must be flown in from distant continents. This represents his rejection of unnecessary excess. He prefers to wait for the earth to provide at its natural peak rather than forcing luxury through artificial means. This dedication to natural quality continues with his choice of snacks. He frequently pairs his fruit with natural, full-fat yogurt that is entirely unsweetened and minimally processed. A former household aide once remarked that the Duke's preference for natural over artificial extends across his entire pantry. He wants to taste the actual ingredient, not a version of it masked by sugar or chemical additives. This combination provides the steady protein and probiotics needed to maintain his active lifestyle, supporting his passion for tennis and his constant travel. His lean physique, which has remained remarkably consistent throughout his adult life, is a direct result of these disciplined, quiet choices. He ignores modern dietary fads, choosing instead to trust in high-quality, local ingredients that work practically for a man in his position. Yet, while his weekday routine is a masterclass in efficiency and health, the atmosphere at Bagshot Park shifts significantly when the weekend arrives. Even a royal who values lean living knows when to embrace a grand British tradition. There is one specific meal that acts as the emotional anchor for his family life with Sophie and their children. It is a ritual that creates a rare space for genuine connection, away from the glare of public duty. But what exactly does this traditional feast look like when a prince is at the head of the table? When Sunday arrives at Bagshot Park, the air in the private quarters changes. While the public often sees the Duke of Edinburgh in the stiff formality of military uniforms or state attire, His Sunday routine is defined by the most grounded of British traditions, the Sunday roast. This is the meal that anchors his week, providing a rare moment of stillness and connection with Sophie and their children. There are no experimental fusion dishes or elaborate restaurant-style interpretations here. Instead, the table is set for a proper, traditional roast, featuring either free-range chicken or a high-quality cut of beef, roasted slowly and rested with care before carving. The vegetables that accompany the meat are a testament to the family's connection to the land, often sourced directly from the kitchen gardens at Bagshot Park. Whether it is honey-roasted parsnips in winter or vibrant spring greens, the focus is entirely on seasonal honesty. However, the most telling detail of this meal is found in the gravy. A former member of the household staff once recounted that Prince Edward has a firm rule against shortcuts. While many would find it convenient to use instant powders or pre-made stocks, the Duke insists on gravy made the traditional way, using the rich, natural juices from the roasting pan. This attention to detail reveals a man who values the integrity of the process. He believes that you cannot disguise a lack of quality with clever presentation. This philosophy extends to the atmosphere of the meal itself. For Edward, the Sunday roast is not a performance for a grand dining hall. It is a private family sanctuary. It is a time for conversation, where the pressures of royal duty are left at the door, and the roles of father and husband take center stage. It is a weekly ritual that celebrates heritage and family values over empty luxury. Yet, as the weekend fades and the Duke returns to his busy schedule, his evening preferences often lean towards something even more understated. Away from the abundance of the Sunday table, he frequently chooses a meal that he describes as truly honest. He believes that some dishes are so fundamental that they cannot be faked with elaborate garnishes or architectural plating. He often seeks out a meal that succeeds purely on the quality of its ingredients and the care of its preparation. Do you know what this steaming, humble bowl of truth is? And why it is the ultimate test of a royal kitchen? We are going to reveal his favorite evening comfort next. In a world where his position provides access to every culinary luxury imaginable, Prince Edward frequently chooses a meal that many would find surprisingly humble: a bowl of carefully made, homemade soup. For the Duke, soup is not merely a starter or a light convenience. It is a fundamental test of culinary integrity. He often remarks to those in his inner circle that soup is one of the few dishes that cannot be faked. While an elaborate main course can sometimes be rescued by theatrical plating or a complex sauce, a soup succeeds or fails based entirely on the quality of its base and the patience of its preparation. A former palace chef once recalled that the Duke is particularly attentive to the essence of the broth. The chef noted that Edward once observed how you cannot disguise a poor stock with architectural garnishes or expensive spices. The flavor either has the depth of real ingredients or it doesn't. This reflects the Duke's broader character, a man who is notoriously forthright and has very little patience for pretense or superficiality. He values the time it takes to slowly simmer seasonal vegetables and bones to extract their true nutritional value and honest taste. The varieties served at Bagshot Park change strictly with the rhythm of the gardens. In the golden weeks of autumn, the kitchen is filled with the scent of roasted butternut squash. As the frost of winter sets in, the menu shifts to hearty, thick vegetable broths that are genuinely sustaining. These are never thin or watery. They are substantial meals paired with thick, cut, fresh bread, usually a dense whole grain or a tangy sourdough. It is a meal that must succeed on flavor alone, which appeals perfectly to Edward's philosophy of substance over style. This grounded approach to dining reveals a man who is comfortable with simplicity, when that simplicity is executed with excellence. He finds genuine satisfaction in the warmth of a well-made broth that honors the ingredients of the land. However, even as he avoids the theatricality of the grand banquet, the way he concludes his evening shows a remarkably sophisticated and mature palate. He has long since moved past the desire for the sugary, cream-filled desserts that define many royal menus. Instead, he reaches for a selection that combines quiet patriotism with a world-class British tradition. Why does he choose a salty, sharp finish over a sweet one, and how does it connect to his deep-rooted Scottish ties? We are exploring his refined alternative to the dessert trolley next. While many royal banquets conclude with towering soufflés, rich chocolate ganaches, or theatrical cream-filled pastries, Prince Edward's choice is a quiet departure from these sugary stereotypes. For the Duke, the conclusion of a meal is not an opportunity for indulgence, but for the appreciation of genuine craftsmanship. He consistently bypasses the dessert trolley in favor of a selection of world-class British cheeses. Whether it is the robust, earthy tang of a Montgomery's cheddar or the refined, creamy complexity of a Colston Bassett Stilton, his preference reflects a mature palate that finds excessive sweetness unnecessary and distracting. This choice is a vivid example of what many in his inner circle call quiet patriotism. By selecting these cheeses, Edward is championing British producers, who maintain traditions that are internationally recognized for their excellence. He doesn't need to make a public announcement about supporting local industry. He simply practices it at his own table every day. A former steward once remarked that the Duke takes a genuine interest in the provenance of the cheese, often noting that a well-aged cheddar requires just as much patience and skill as any complex confection. To accompany these cheeses, Edward eschews delicate French crackers, opting instead for traditional Scottish oatcakes. This is a subtle but significant nod to his deep-rooted Scottish connections and his title as the Duke of Edinburgh. The oatcakes provide a rugged, honest texture and a subtle flavor that complements the cheese without competing for attention. It is a sophisticated, savory end to a meal that requires no refined sugar or architectural presentation, just honest ingredients and authentic flavor. This preference for the savory over the sweet is perhaps the ultimate sign of a man who has moved beyond the need for performance, finding satisfaction in things that are genuinely well made. However, no account of the Duke's daily habits is complete without acknowledging the one ritual that punctuates his day with absolute regularity. It is the most quintessentially British habit imaginable, yet Edward performs it with a level of precision that elevates it to an art form. It is not just about thirst or refreshment. For him, it is a psychological reset, a moment of enforced stillness in a life that constantly demands his presence and performance. He treats this habit with almost religious care, from the temperature of the water to the exact minutes of brewing. What is this daily ceremony that helps him transition from public duty to private reflection? And why does he believe there is a right way to do something so simple? That final secret is coming up next. In the demanding life of a working royal, moments of genuine stillness are rare, but Prince Edward has found his sanctuary in the perfect cup of Earl Grey tea. This is not a beverage consumed in haste between meetings or gulped down while multitasking. It is a deliberate, daily practice of mindfulness. For the Duke, the sharp, citrus bitterness of bergamot provides a clean, psychological reset for the mind. Those who have observed him at Bagshot Park describe the brewing process as an enforced pause of 3 to 4 minutes, a ritual of stillness that he treats with almost religious care. He takes his tea seriously, paying close attention to the exact temperature of the water and the specific duration of the steep. A former associate once remarked that this was not about pretension, but about the standards of someone who understands that getting the small things right creates the foundation for the big things. For Edward, each cup marks a transition from his public duties to a space of private reflection. Supporting this active and mindful lifestyle is his unwavering commitment to fresh, garden-constructed salads. These are never perfunctory side dishes, but are instead vibrant, complete meals built around whatever the Bagshot Park gardens are producing at their peak quality. In the spring and summer, his table features a variety of freshly picked lettuces, cucumbers, and fragrant herbs. During the colder months, the focus shifts to roasted root vegetables and nuts to provide warmth and substance. The dressing is always consistent: high-quality olive oil, a dash of proper vinegar, and perhaps a touch of Dijon mustard. The simplicity is intentional. Edward believes that a dressing should enhance the vegetable, never mask its inherent flavor. This reflects his broader food philosophy of respecting ingredients at their natural best, rather than forcing them into complicated, artificial presentations. Looking back at these 10 daily food choices, a clear portrait of the Duke of Edinburgh emerges. From his morning porridge to his evening salad, Prince Edward is a man who has consistently chosen authenticity over performance. He rejects the theatricality often expected of his rank, opting instead for a lifestyle that is sustainable, ethical, and deeply grounded. He has maintained his health and his lean physique, not through dramatic, fleeting diets, but through decades of consistent, honest choices that prioritize quality over luxury. In a world of noise and ever-changing trends, Edward remains a figure of quiet integrity, proving that the most regal way to live is to remain true to oneself and the land. If you found this deep dive into the private life and dietary philosophy of the Duke of Edinburgh fascinating, please hit the like button and share this video with others who appreciate the traditions of the royal family. What do you think about the Duke's grounded approach to palace life? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more exclusive insights into the lives of those behind the palace gates. Thank you for watching.